let's say that I'm a resale business. I might have product returns that I want to start selling, or I'm purchasing secondhand items, maybe doing some refurbishment on them. And I'm really interested in Twice Commerce. I sign up there, and what does Twice 2.0 provide me, and how do I get started?
So the first key capability is that when you purchase or get those product returns, you get to register them in the inventory as individual items. And that doesn't mean that you need to productize them as individual items, but you get to have a record for every return on an individual level. That can mean that you record how much did I pay for this specific item, what was the condition of that item, who was the seller, or maybe if it's a product return, if you know who was the manufacturer, just kind of making sure that you cover ground in understanding what kind of a supply you're getting, because all of this becomes later information that helps you make better purchase decisions, or whether it's new stuff or old stuff. Now, after that, you've accumulated an inventory where each one of your items is serialized and you have individual visibility to those items. You've valued them individually, you've condition graded them individually. Now you can start to figure out how do you want to productize them. So it's the time to start creating listings. Now, you can, of course, take each one of those items and create a unique listing for each one of those. That's one approach, and you just create the needed variants or attributes for your customers to be easily able to filter out of the online store that we provide you with. Or you might want to package those under the same listing. So instead of having a, let's say, iPhone 15 and, 20 different listings for it, you might have one listing with iPhone 15 with variants, condition good as new, condition slightly scratched, and condition heavy usage, and create individual price points to each one of those. But then when linking to your inventory, linking them to those individual items via attributes like condition grading. So it's again up to you as what kind of a resale operation you're running, but you can have very dynamic way of productizing those individual items that you purchased. So as a resale operator, effectively, you're very fast in recording new inventory in. We even have a way of registering new items where you just snap a picture of them, and our AI automatically recognizes what the item is and creates the key attributes for the item. After that, you're very fast in creating listings that point to these items and publishing them in the online store that we provide for you out of the box. So as a resale operator, quick registration of new inventory, easy productization to already up and running online store immediately when you start using Twice.
Okay. Sounds good, especially the like snapping a photo, and probably also the inventory article then has like individual photos that are exactly that stock items. So that sounds like a really powerful feature. And what about merchants, resale businesses that maybe do some type of refurbishment? So let's say they purchased the iPhone 15 for $300, but then they have to, for example, change the battery and the screen. So is that data somehow visible in Twice, or are you able to record it and have that be calculated when you are actually looking like how profitable are iPhone 15s, especially the ones that had like broken glass when you purchased them?
Yes, you can. So when that item is registered in Twice, you can record things like maintenance for that item, and it can be recorded as a thing that took time or just as a general note. And to those you can record expenses and income. So in this case, it would probably be expenses in terms of the expense of the new glass and maybe even the expense of the labor that went into it. So that way you can start already looking at, okay, so I bought it for $300. That was the purchase cost. We've since done some refurbishment on that has accumulated a little bit more cost to that. Let's say that we would be at $450. Now you can already see at that cost when you're looking to create the resale listing for it. So you at least know that you're not selling it for less than the cost that has already gone into it. We also have a feature called tasks that can be created from automatically or via workflows or manually, where you can create these refurbishment tasks. So you can do automations where you say that if a item with this SKU is registered in the system, You've defined that there should be a task created called refurbishment or inspection. And that task is very similar to what we've seen in other ticketing system or task systems, where you see what item created this, what's the reference there, what was the to-do or the checklist to go through, and then you have easy access to that to record those things that we mentioned, the maintenance and the costs related to that. So you can have a kind of a very lightweight, easy to understand task management for your employees also, where you probably have some standardization already with your buyback or product return workflows.
And when you have productized these, let's stay with the iPhones and you have them available for purchase. Let's say you have 30 iPhone 15s. And when somebody purchases, let's say in the grade 2 or the middle one with little scratches, how is it decided like which one of these individual stock items is fulfilled?
So we have a auto assigning feature. So where we go to your inventory and select the one that is available. So in your inventory, you might have stock that kind of meets that criteria, but it hasn't yet gone through all of the refurbishment flows. So we always make sure that the needed criteria is, for example, met. And then we auto assign one of these items. So then it's a little bit up to you. How do you want to do order fulfillment? So you will see our suggestion that which one of these unique items you would probably want to collect, but at the same time see the requirements, what were needed for that. So you might see that, all right, actually all of these other IDs are okay, or you see that kind of the requirement for this listing was that it was iPhone 15 with, say, was it middle condition, kind of with slight scratches and so on. So if your warehouse management system is such that your employees know that all of these are stored here, or you see the storage space of those, you can just go there and pick whatever you want and then just switch it to be that item instead of the one that we auto-assigned. The auto-assign feature is something that we're developing further as we go, because there might be needs where you want to define that, hey, I actually want to auto-assign the oldest stock that I have. So you have a kind of a stock cycle algorithm that you want the system to follow when auto-assigning things.
You also mentioned like the warehousing. So is there some capability or something that where you can actually store where this is? And if we are talking about large businesses, which might have like thousands or even tens of thousands of unique items, is Twice able to kind of support you that, hey, go to this shelf and pick up this item from like this code or similar?
Yes, so there's multiple ways of going about it. You can have custom attributes that define these kind of warehousing locations, and Twice supports a field by itself in a system level where you can say what's the storage location of this item, which can be kind of utilized, kind of inherited from a SKU level or defined even on an individual basis. So you can use Twice also to help your employees or order collection to understand where do I go and pick it up and to find this specific item or a similar item that is needed here.
And if we stay with the like large scale operation, is there also some support for barcode scanning or is it something that they have to kind of type into Twice to find the exact stock item, or how is it designed to support these large scale operations?
So Twice supports barcode scanning as default. So there are specific views like in order fulfillment where barcode reading might even carry out some tasks that if you're fulfilling an order and reading a barcode, it might automatically mark that item as collected and so on. But essentially in any view, if you read a barcode of a stock item, it asks you whether you want to open that item's kind of a stock item record. So you can very quickly navigate to the right digital representation of any physical item by just reading the barcode of that item, given of course that you have serialized your physical inventory with unique barcodes.
Okay. And what about, let's say, after a fiscal year, you want to kind of look into your resale business and how has it been going? Like, what are the best products? How much costs there were on specific products? Like, is Twice supporting these type of reports or providing this data?
As an example, every stock item has automatic profit and expense calculation or income and expense calculation and recordings. So if you've marked all of the expenses that have occurred due to maintenance, whether it's using of spare parts or the labor cost and the purchase price and the resale price of that item, you can essentially find the most profitable stock items in your in your inventory. And you can look into kind of those and trying to figure out which one of those are maybe such that you want to do more the next fiscal year, or what's the kind of connecting idea behind all of these items where you made a lot of profit. Now, similar analysis you can do with your customer records, where you look into your customer base that we automatically generate for you, and you look into what kind of customers have purchased the most from you, and again, what's the connecting idea behind all of these most profitable customers. And maybe the same analysis for most unprofitable stock items and most unprofitable customers to understand what kind of maybe buyback promises you don't want anymore do.
Sounds like a very powerful system for all resale businesses, whether they are just starting up or even if they are running like huge operations with thousands or tens of thousands of unique items. And I guess it's good to highlight that if you are in resale business and you are interested in experiencing what the Twice Commerce 2.0 can provide you, there is a waitlist open and you can find it at twicecommerce.com.